Everybody, welcome back to our DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm Chris Megawar 31. Hopefully this comes out okay. I'm not in my normal setup here. Kind of on the road is so hot where I am. I have the AC on. I cannot bear it in this room without it. So apologize if there's any background noise, but hopefully we're good. 7-game slate for Thursday. We've got a 6:40 start, so just note that. I'll probably put it in the thumbnail and in the description of the video just to kind of remind you, but this is going to start at 6:40 tonight versus like the 7:05. So, a couple weather concerns, nothing too major. First game we have is Dodgers, the Pirates, Walker Buehler and Bailey Falter. Uh, Wind blowing out 9 miles per hour. It's more of a pitching park, 76 degrees, so that helps with hitting a little bit. Maybe neutralize a little bit of the park factor, gets it back to even. Dodgers have been a little cold recently, but I still don't think I'll be playing Falter. I mean, it's a small slate, so if you're mass multi entering, I don't think he's absolute fade. I mean, he could be a decently low owned contrarian play in a YOLO less than like 5% of your 150 lineups, just in case. Walker Buehler on the other side, I think he's in a really good spot here. Pittsburgh has been pretty average. They do have some power there and everything. Like O'Neill Cruz is a phenomenal player. But again, he's erratic. So it looks like they called Swinsky back up, and or I don't know if he was injured or something, but he's been out of the lineup for a while. But he's sitting like probably down at like ninth, but he's pretty good against righties too. Love it if he like got moved up to like behind Cruz and or something like that, so they could go like Cruz, Swinsky, like Tellis. I think that'd be a good lineup there. So but anyways, I think Walker will be fine against them. Pittsburgh has the second highest or third highest strikeout rate overall. So there's definitely some Ks in the lineup. And Dodger bats, I moved them down like just with the weather conditions for the other two in the matchup and their current form. I like Boston, Cincinnati a lot better than the Dodgers at this point, but they're always like a solid stack that you can play. And I like the fact that they're going against a lefty here. So that's Botani is good on both ones. Freeman I probably skip here, but Will Smith, Hernandez, Pagas probably is gonna move up in the lineup, and then between Rojas, Ricky Hernandez, and Vargas, you got some cheap pieces there to make the stack work. So you can get the high bats in and you get the low bats in, get some decent pitching. You can wrap around, mix and match, whatever. I just probably would like leave Freeman and maybe Otani out of the lineup. In cash, I'm not saying don't play them because Pittsburgh bullpen is like the fifth or sixth worst out there. So, and I'm sure there's some righties that will come in that they face. So, but I think, I'd concentrate more on the righties there in my builds. And like I said, just probably those three lefties in Pittsburgh if you're building a leverage stack. And Washington, a little bit of rain here, possibly about 50% chance, which clear here. We're down to like the teens, like after like 8 o'clock. So delay maybe, but it should be fine. This is in Washington of like 2018, 2019, where they just randomly canceled games because somebody said the R word. They've come a long way since then. So the Braves have been cold recently also. Like I know Luke losing Acuna, but I think they got shut out yesterday. No, maybe they put up a couple runs finally, but it wasn't looking pretty. Ronaldo Lopez has been solid this season, but Washington's put together some decent games too. I mean, they can be pesky and they're going to throw a lot of lefties at him. So I think Lopez, I'd probably take Gray Hulk and Bueller above him, but I think he's definitely going to be in play here in for a pitcher. And Parker on the other side, I like what I've seen from him so far. And the Braves are going to continue to be a little bit cold here, although they hit left-handed pitching pretty good. Like Azuña just destroys them. Duvall's always been good at them. Diano had like 3 homers a couple weeks ago against a lefty, I believe it was. So there's definitely some potential. And Brian Anderson joins the club here. So probably hitting down the bottom of the order from former Brewer. So they're trying anything they can do to try to patch the hole that Acuna left for them. So we'll see if this piece works out for them. So bat wise, just Atlanta's been colder than the Dodgers, so I got to put them fourth. But still, they have a nice total over 5, so I think they're definitely a solid player. And Washington could be sneaky against Lopez. the lefties, like Abrams' price has come down. He was up in 6K range. He's got hurt, struggled a little bit recently. Now he's down to 5.3. Garcia, Rosario, Ruiz, Winker. I mean, there's definitely some left-handed bats that I don't mind throwing as in cheap stack and a GPP against them there. And Atlanta's bullpen's neutral, so it's not like after Lopez comes, there's absolutely gonna get shut down. So next game we have the Twins and Yankees. This one might be where we have some issues. It's supposed to be pouring rain up until 7 o'clock, but then it drops to 20% after that. So might be a late start, like an 8 o'clock, 8:30 start, but I think should be able to get this one in. I don't think it's going to be completely rained out, but just watch the you know closer to lock on that one. So Pablo Lopez, Marcus Stroman. Lopez has been a great pitcher over the last couple of seasons, but just really hasn't had it as much this season. And the Yankees aren't really striking out as much recently. So that's just one thing that we need to keep in consideration that, Stan and Judge still do to a degree, but the rest of the lineup has been pretty solid here. Stroman against the Twins, I think he's probably in the mid range, one of the guys that I trust pretty good here. The Twins still have a even though they've moved to kind of the bottom of the K lineup, we'll have to see how they come out, like with Lewis going back into the lineup. I mean, there's another bat there. They demoted Julian, so Castro, like he's just been so solid recently as a switch hitter. You can play him like in multiple positions and in different spots in the lineup. So Twins are really starting to come together and could be a decent DFS team. And their pricing really isn't that bad. I mean, Lewis is like kind of egregious at 5.5, but everybody else, like the highest one below him is going to be Kepler at like 4.4. And a couple 4K guys, a lot of 3K guys. So they're always like really inexpensive and just definitely someplace that a team that you can fill in cash or GPPs. Yankees, I'll put them in the GPP. I don't know why I have Atlanta twice. That's figure out what team I'm missing there, but I think it's San Diego. Yeah. Don't know why that didn't translate. So yeah, we'll move them up. So definitely favorite GPP team. I like the other just with the weather and everything, but I like the four and the top the best. But I think the Yankees are definitely in play there for bets. Cubs heading to the Great American Small Park. Cincinnati returns from Colorado. So you have Javier Assad and Hunter Green. Wind's blowing out here at like 12 miles per hour, 80 degrees. So that's really going to help the bats here. So the pitching, I see a lot of potential ownership on Green, and I think he's a really good pitcher and has had a decent season. The Cubs are barely in the top 10 for strikeouts, so I think he's in play in the medium range. I don't know if I play him in cash, but I think he could be a solid GPP play at 8.2. And then Assad, I think is I'm sorry, I hate these Google Sheets when it like auto corrects you out of nowhere, especially when I do it on my iPad. So Assad is I think he could be a play also GPP, but again, I like bats much better here. Cincinnati's gonna be my second favorite stack here, and I know people hesitate sometimes with teams coming back from cores, but it's a good hitting situation. It seems like they're not good. Their time might be a little bit off because the air is different. It's not as thin as it was, and the ball's not going to travel as much. And but the muscle memory should be there. They're in their home park. They're in really good form, and they've got great hitting conditions. So against a pitcher that's okay, not like stud. So I think Cincinnati is solidly in play here. And the Cubs against Green, I think you can go there too. Talkman, Bellinger, Suzuki's been good, both righties and lefties too. Hap's starting to come around, so I think you can definitely make a mini stack there if you want to for GPP. Rockies go from Coors to St. Louis, and it's Qual Cantor and Sonny Gray. There's really no cheap pitchers I like, but St. Louis has been bad at times. So I think on a small slate, out of like all the bad pitchers, you got to consider Quintrell, but I think that the win upside is very low there. But if you want to punt somebody in 6K range in like 150 max, I don't think I'd even touch them in a 20 max. I think I'd just stay in the high and medium salaries today. I don't think I'd dip down that low. But if you're playing 150 max, I think Quintrell you could possibly consider here. if the Cardinals do the Cardinal thing and show up with a great total with wind blowing out of their stadium at like 13 miles per hour in an 80-degree day, which should with 0% chance of precipitation, so that ball should be flying and do absolutely nothing. So Sonny Gray, I think, is definitely probably the pitcher on the slate here. Um, Against the Rockies, again, coming out, of course, they've been terrible on the road. They've had some flashes in the pan, but I don't think this is the case. I think Sonny Gray should be solid and be able to shut them down. And St. Louis has one of the best bullpens too. So Colorado is probably one of my least favorite stacks here. Um, Baseball is 7 game slate. I'm sure if you're 150 max that you're going to play some of them. But St. Louis love them as the cheap fill-in stack here. Donovan leading off at 3.7, lefty Burleson at 3.3, a lefty here. I don't play Goldsmith anymore. Gorman at second base here at 3.9. Um, I the ghost of Matt Carpenter, I haven't played much, but I mean he's there. But like even Saini, the really talented rookie outfielder that bats ninth here, he's got some pop and he's got a lot of speed, so he's always a decent one for wraparound stack. And I don't mind playing Win. He's a little bit banged up. We'll have to see if he's actually in the lineup, but he's been decent with speed and contacts, so I don't mind punting shortstop with him ever. Next up, have probably one of the favorite hitting situations of the day. The wind's blowing out 18 to 20 miles per hour in, um, was it the White Sox Stadium in Chicago? So that definitely helps bats here. You have Tanner Houck and Jake Woodford. So Houck is my second favorite pitcher on the slate. He'd be my favorite if it wasn't for the wind, but still, even with the wind, you still have to hit the ball. And Chicago hasn't done that a lot. So, I mean, they've had some games recently where they put up some runs, but overall, consistently through the whole season, not super impressed with them. So, I think Houck is solidly in play here, and someone that we can definitely play as an SP1 as pivot off of Gray. Woodford on the other side, I'm not touching. This Red Sox lineup looked great yesterday, and I think it's just going to continue today. I love the lefties here. Duran, Valdez hitting second. I loved him last year when he first came up, and he just really hasn't had a spot, been like pushed on down in the lineup. But with the injury to like Matsuyama and him not being in the lineup, he's just like really solidified himself as an everyday player up here. Batting second, Devers like batting third or fourth, like him there. O'Neill's back in the lineup. Didn't look like he missed a beat coming off the IL. Dominic Smith has always been good against right-handed, and even David Hamilton at like shortstop or wherever they want to play him is good. So there's so many options on this Red Sox team. Love them, favorite stack on the slate. Chicago White Sox. I mean, there was a couple days ago, I forget who it was against, like, and I did the video and I said, well, if you want to take down a GPP, the White Sox, might be your best bet because they're in such a bad situation that nobody's going to play them. And if you do get it right, you're going to win all the money. Could this be another one? I mean, the wind's there. Houck isn't an ace pitcher. Can I make a case for it? Yeah. Um, yeah. Do I like it? No. Could I even find a 5-man stack I could stomach? Probably not. But if I want to take some piece of it in a GPP for leverage, I definitely think that's in play here. Final game we have is Arizona and San Diego. We have Saccone and Randy Velasquez. I'm not really interested in either pitcher here. Saccone potentially, just because Manny Machado got injured. I don't know what it was, some leg injury. I couldn't tell if he sprained an ankle or what happened. He's running to first base. The trainers came out. He went right to the dugout, and Solano came and took a spot. But Solano's not a bad player. He's pretty diverse with Minnesota last year. Was able to play a lot of different positions and did quite well as like a platoon utility player. So don't but definitely a downgrade from Machado, who is actually starting to heat up a little bit after a cold start. So Sassoni, I think, has to be in play here in the cheap range, especially if you're mass multi entering. Again, if you're 20 maxes, I probably wouldn't dip below the medium range here, but if you're doing 150 max, I think that or just doing some handcrafted, want to get a lot of high end bats in like Atlanta or the Dodgers or the Yankees, then I don't mind taking a shot at him here. Like the Padres only have a 4.42 total. I mean, don't strike out a ton. They're kind of like average. Actually, no, they're the lowest in the last couple of weeks too. So, um, but again, that could be like matchup and stuff too. I'll have to see like next week when I run the numbers over the last 14 if that like moves at all, because that just seems like an anomaly for this team. But maybe they figure out plate discipline or something. Anyways, Saccone, mass multi entering only. Vasquez, not interested in. Like Arizona bats here, probably third favorite GPP. Probably stick with the lefties: Carroll, Marte, Peterson, McCarthy. I probably wouldn't like throw the righties in there unless like you know 150 lineups. And then San Diego, Herrera's leading off, like he's just a contact hitter. He really has no power. Like once in a blue moon, kind of like Reese with Oakland, he might be able to hit one over the fence. But his real thing is just like getting on base and having a high average. Tatis has actually come to life and has been pretty prolific last couple of games or actually weeks. So I think he's fine there. Profile, I don't mind. Cronenworth, I don't mind. Peralta, at 2-1. If there's any gas left in that tank, former Dodger and journeyman is okay. And then Merrill, I thought, after the Korea series that we see a lot of good things out of him, but it really hasn't transpired. What happened to Hunting Sung Kim? He like it's just fallen. Like he was like the top of the lineup, like leading off and stuff, and just really hasn't put it together this season. So San Diego, fourth favorite GPP. Maybe some other pieces there. I just probably wouldn't go 5-man stack. I'd probably just take some of the pieces that have the splits and build that into a line with some other bats that you want just to get some exposure. So, like I said, I'm staying as top range for pitching. Gray, Hulk, Bueller, Lopez from Atlanta, and then just in a GPP, I just don't trust pitchers against the Yankees. And then Green, Stroman, Assad, and Parker, they all have like either a bad matchup or weather concerns against them, is like wind blowing out, which could aid hitting against them. And then the two cheap guys as punts, and then I'm not playing those other ones there. So and like I said, top stack, Boston and Cincinnati with the wind, LA and Atlanta just because we know who they are, New York just because of the weather factor, then Chicago, Arizona, and San Diego cheap, St. Louis, Minnesota, and Washington. So let's look at the builds, get you on your way for your day. So I can get both top pitchers in a line that I actually love here. So Gray and Hulk, and I'm gonna and I'm going to take as much Boston as I possibly can, and I'm going to fill in with cheap St. Louis bats. And this works out almost to the dollar. It's perfect. Hopefully, all the guys are in there and healthy, and it works out. And I love it. It gives me some floor up top, having two very strong pitchers, and it gives me some really good bats with wind in a great situation. And then it gives me some really cheap fill-ins in a good situation too. So like all around, really happy with the cash build today. For GPP, Walker Bueller, probably going to play Green as my SP2, but I'm not sure. No, Parker, I think I picked here just to correlate with the Washington stack part of it. But give me Cincinnati. I know they're coming off of, Coors and everything, but I think it's a really good matchup in their park with wind blowing out. So give me Friedel, Candelario, who's been hot recently, Steer. And then I'm going to fill in with the left-handed or switch-hitting Washington bats with Ruiz, Garcia, and Rosario. So that's what I got for your family questions. Put them in the chat below. Hit me up at MegaRover31 on Twitter/action. Remember, the slate starts at 6:40, not 7:05. If you want more information on FSi DFS, you can go to the description of the video. And there you can get into our pricing page. Everything is pretty affordable. And as we head towards the weekend, it's I think it's like maybe like it's $6 a day for like a VIP pass, and that like covers everything. It's going to cover soccer. It's going to cover Major League Baseball. Usually on weekends, there's a couple slates. It's going to cover NASCAR, hockey playoffs, NBA playoffs. We have WNBA and the NBA now too. So lots of cool stuff going on. And if these videos help, we're cruising up and flying up towards 5K and subscribers here. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. Help us out. Help us get to that 5K so we can have a huge celebration for that. And we'll definitely do some celebrating and have some promotions for you as a thank you. So, and we just thank you for all you've done for us to get to over 4K so far. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a great Thursday. Good luck in your contest. I'll see you next time.